So we got John here, and
Yes.
what kind of car do you got?
It is a 2012 Outback with the 3.6. Yeah.
You beat the shit out of this.
Yeah. I try to be a little bit nicer to it these days, but I
Not
mean,
even true.
But
This is the first time this tire's been on this car, right?
yes. Yes.
So what happened earlier?
Yeah, we were going through some little mud pits, and there was a good sized rock sliced open my sidewall from from here to like over there basically. Then we tried to plug it. That was fun. Ultimately, yeah, we put the spare out.
What do you so what are you running for tires?
So these are Falcon AT4Ws, the newer ones, and I had AT3s before and never lost a tire, just saying. But
well, maybe you just been driving wild.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
I mean that's the thing is I definitely hit that rock like way too fast today. If I would have hit it slower, probably would have been okay.
When it dented your wheel in, dude. That was gnarly.
I hit it too fast.
And you got two 45/65s?
45/65s, yes.
What's the majority of the type of stuff that you drive in? Rocks, mud?
I mean, it's a lot of rocks. I try to mostly avoid the mud, to be honest.
Yeah.
After the mud incident of March 23, it's I feel a little bit different about the mud, but
yeah.
It's mostly rocks. I mean, yeah. I'm not I don't avoid just plain old forest roads with good views either, but that's the thing is out here in Arizona, you just end up on rocky trails, and anytime you take a side trail,
Yeah.
that's just kind of how it is out here. So
what's the ride quality like at the tire?
I mean, yeah, it's good. I'd say it's on par with AT3s. I definitely noticed the biggest difference when I went from trails to AT3s. I could tell a noticeable ride improvement. I was like, oh wow.
Well, the trails are just like a all season that's just remolded.
Right.
Got and then they reinforcement.
Yeah, then they kind of push out the sides with that raised thing, so they look more aggressive than they really are.
Well, and that's an 1/8 inch of extra protection.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it definitely helps, but
and then so I know in your article we talked a little bit about your lift. I actually needed to pick your brain about this a little bit. Can you talk about your lift, kind of what you got going on?
So yeah, it's ADF spacer lift. It's 2 inches in the front and it's 3 in the rear essentially. Sheesh. So
is it 3 or is it 2.5?
So it's 2.5, but then the springs back there are the 1/2 inch raised springs, so that's why it's 3 inches in the back.
Okay,
so it's on the Rally Tech overload springs.
Okay.
Only the rear ones have lift. I don't know why, but that's how they design them. So that's why I'm taller in the back a little bit technically.
Is that essentially so? I know a lot of people they just assume okay, if people are carrying gear, it's going to be in the back.
Right.
Is that kind of?
I think that's what it is, and that's the thing is some people do one or the other. They'll get the lift a little bit higher in the rear, and then they don't necessarily maybe need the springs. Yeah. In my case, I ordered the lift higher in the rear, and then I also put the 1/2 inch springs on the rear. So that's why there's such a difference between the front and the rear. But I mean, I feel like it's not too noticeable, and especially once I do load it down, it comes down a little bit.
Well, it looks pretty even to me.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to tell, honestly. And then it's the Bilstein B6 struts.
Okay. I know there's a lot of different Bilstein options.
Yeah.
With the B, you said B6.
So the B6s are more of an off-road oriented one.
Okay.
The B4s are supposed to be closer to OEM.
Okay.
And then the B8s are the ones that are the newer ones that's where it's it's just a taller strut essentially.
Okay,
so it gives you a lift, but it's only 1.5 inches, which I mean, it wouldn't be enough for me, honestly. Yeah, I would lose too much clearance with that.
Yeah.
So, but I think that is a pretty good option. And just that along with coils, none of that stuff was around when I lifted. It was spacer lift or $4,000 coil lift, and there was the only one brand that made it. You know what I mean?
I remember looking at long travel coilovers that were for rally, stage rally. It's entry level $6,000.
Having the Jeep, it's I always go through this thing. It's how much do I really want to put into this thing? Because at the end of the day, I still have something at home that I can put probably a few grand into, and it will go places. Yeah. My Subaru couldn't without damage anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do a lot of stuff. We talked about this.
Yeah.
You could do a lot, but you're gonna damage stuff. I mean, look at us today.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you could do it, but
can you tell? Okay, so I always get people like, why don't you buy a Jeep? Or people that say like, oh, my Jeep or my Subaru is just as capable as a Jeep. Hey, come back.
Yeah, Indy, stay close by, bud.
But they both have their own.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is definitely. I mean, the people say like, oh, they're better on gas mileage, but not once you get to a point where I'm at. It's pretty much the same.
That's true.
So I mean, that's pretty much out the window. That's why, like, I don't even know what mile per gallon I get. I just don't even pay attention to it. It doesn't really matter to me. So I mean, a lot of people say miles per gallon. They're more reliable maybe than Jeeps. I mean, what people don't understand about Jeeps is also that like they're broken all the time because people go out and do crazy shit and they break their Jeeps in the process. That's 100%. The thing. So it's a little mix of So I think it's a little mix of both, but I think, you know, they're safer. They're generally more room. Yeah, that's true. They're better on the road than a Jeep is. It's more of kind of a jack of all trades, whereas a Jeep is like not as good on the road, but obviously better off road. So
I agree.
So I kind of like it, you know, because I mean, dude, I can do moderate trails and then like drive home and like still have fun on the drive home. Yeah. You know, it's still like relatively fun to drive. That's the thing.
If you had kids, you could take them to soccer practice.
Yeah, exactly. Groceries, you know.
What's your thoughts on the 3.6?
Oh man, I feel like I just lucked out. Like I didn't really know what I know today when I got the car. Yeah. In fact, I went to a dealership and looked at a 3rd gen Outback, an XT. Okay. Manual, you know, black.
I remember those. Yeah.
Beautiful. And yeah, I got to the dealership. They had it up on a truck and wouldn't take it down to let me see it. And I was like, all right, well, fuck you guys then. Yeah. So this was the next one that I had on the list, and I really, really liked driving it. I think a lot of that is the 3.6. Like I'm, you know, I remember
merging power, dude.
I was like, wow, this thing's actually pretty quick. And he's like, oh yeah, this is the 6-cylinder. Like I had no idea. You know what I mean? Like I thought they were all flat 4s or turbo flat 4s. So I didn't even know the flat 6 existed. It turns out that this is supposed to be one of the more reliable. I mean, you don't have the head gasket issues.
And you have a timing chain instead of timing belts.
Right. That's a huge one. I mean, I'm at 203, and so we're counting, you know?
What transmission do you have? Do you have a CVT or a true automatic?
No, so thankfully it's the 5 EAT. So
perfect.
It's a 5-speed auto.
Perfect. I've got a 4 EAT, and the 5 EAT is just equally as beastly, in my opinion. Yeah. And dude, you can pretty much outwheel anybody using this thing, dude. And are you running a primitive?
Yes, it is primitive, and it has been pulled off multiple times
and reshaped.
Reshaped, yeah. You know, most people probably would just replace it at this point, but I'm pretty cheap, so.
And you got what? Was this 3/16?
We're gonna bash it up until like we can't fix it anymore. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And then your hood vents, dude, I think this is actually a really clean install when I was looking at it from the other side.
Yeah, you can. That's all Matt Malloy slow fuzz. Yeah, I mean, you know, he had me place them and kind of get them where I wanted. Yeah. And then, you know, we both looked at him, and there was kind of a lot of back and forth, and you know, just very slow about it because, you know, you only get one shot at it pretty much. So yeah. But yeah, dude, he killed it. I mean, he like measured and everything, so they're like they're pretty spot on. Like
nice
sometimes
symmetrical.
Sometimes if you stand at like a weird angle, they look like they're off. But I'm telling you, like we measured them, and like I'm like if you stand right in front of it, then it's hard to to pick at it, you know.
What? So I know a lot of people where I'm from, they'll hate on hood louvers or louvers. They'll be like, that's gay. Like, why do you do that? But I don't think people understand how hot it gets out here. They don't live out
here. It's. I mean, you know, we're talking about 120-degree temps. I mean, I know that they work because I mean, even today on the trail, I could see literally the mirage coming out of them. Yeah. So like, I know that they work, and you know, personally, like, I mean, I wouldn't have done these for looks, as with most things I do, are not for looks. It's for function, and
100%.
You know, this thing likes to get hot in the summertime, like driving up north. Like the combination of it being 120 plus elevation gains, it just does not like that. And so this was just an attempt to, you know, shed some temps out of the engine bay, and it's helped. But you know, I mean, that's why I have them. They just happen to. I think they look okay.
I think they look super good. And like I said, dude, like
they could look worse if you depending on how you place them.
Yeah. You know? Well, people where I'm from, they can hate on on them all they want because we get a bunch of rain. But I mean, like, you guys need this type of stuff.
I will say though that when I was in New Mexico with my nephew, I hit a puddle like real hard and real fast, and water came over the sides and right into my engine bay.
Okay.
And it did get something wet, and I popped a code, and I was like in limp mode for a short time. It wasn't too bad. Like, I just drove kind of hard for a little bit and basically just dried it out.
Yeah.
And then I reset the code with my scan gauge, and we were good. But like, I do feel like now, because it is so easy for water to kind of dump on everything in there, I do have to be a little more careful with like puddles and shit. I don't, you know,
hit them slow.
Yeah,
that's the way.
I mean, and that's the thing. You hit them fast, you never know what you're gonna hit.
And
in
you'll
those things
suck
either.
If you go fast. You'll suck water in through here anyways.
Yeah,
you know, you atomize all that water and it just goes right in.
Yeah.
You got one other mod that I thought was super sick. I know you're still working on it, but can you show us the radiator?
I know what you want to see.
Spray. Yeah, I didn't even have to say shit.
I don't know if it'll be it might be a little difficult to get the camera in there, but if you work your magic there.
I don't know if we'll be able to see it, but can you show us the reservoir?
I didn't even close it earlier. So it's empty right now because, you know, it's like 60 out, so I didn't think I'd need it. But yeah, so this is the reservoir. It's basically like one of those UTV, like same thing as what I have over there. It's like one of those UTV windshield wiper pumps. Yeah. And so it's just basically that mounted to, and then I got these like garden sprayers off Amazon, and we've gone through a couple different ones. These ones seem to work the best so far, and so we've got them down here, and they are facing the radiator and the AC condenser. Yeah. And so we've had to mess with them a few times. I even bought like a whole nother pump, like a
beastly one.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be too much, so we're kind of trying to focus more so on changing the nozzles versus the power, because the other thing is, like, right now in here, you know, I can time it for about 5 minutes. So like when I turn it on from inside my car, I set my watch so that I know I'm not like endlessly running this thing dry. Because that'll burn it out eventually too. But yeah, I get about 5 minutes right now, and so that's the thing. If you change the, you know, the power and it puts out more PSI, then like this will go faster. So it's kind of it's kind of a game of like trying to find, because I really only need it in certain
climbing.
Like the temperature and then the elevation gain at freeway speeds. That's when it, like, as soon as I hit a hill, like even on the way up today, I mean, it was doing it. I got up to 220 at one point, even though it's like 60 degrees out. It was just because we were going up a long hill and we were like mashing it. I mean, that's the other thing.
We were doing like 85.
I mean, if you drive 65 or some shit, like, it's a different thing, but it's really hard for me to do.
Yeah. And people, I mean, seriously, people don't realize we're in Arizona, which is one of the hottest places in the world.
Right.
Like, we're in Sedona right now.
And it's
in you know, late fall.
Right.
So you basically have like windshield washer sprayers aimed at your radiator. So it's essentially like the same thing as like an intercooler sprayer.
It works. Yeah. I mean, that's the idea is pretty much the same kind of thing. Yeah.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah. So it's in kind of experimental stages, but it works right now. We'll probably change the sprayers up again at some point, maybe add some, and just to get it in the right place, you know. We had them a little too far away, the last setup, and I think what was happening is as I was driving, I think it was just falling out and getting sucked under. So they have to be kind of close so that they get sucked right into the radiator as you drive. Yeah.
And you're running an aux beam controller, right?
Yeah.
Like a switch panel.
Yes.
Yeah, and these. Just so that people understand, this is like the aux beam is something that just you have one wire that goes to the firewall, right?
Yes, correct.
So with this thing, you can basically control, like, it's got like a master thing where you turn it all on and off, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. It keeps memories. I mean, until you turn the car off, but yeah, you can turn everything, whatever you want to turn on at once, on and off that way.
And you got your sprayer connected to that is it the water button?
Yep. That is the water button.
Perfect.
Air is top left.
Okay.
And all my lights.
Yeah, because you got an integrated hardwired air compressor, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so it's hardwired. The hose is mounted in the back. Okay. And it's one of those ARB single
twin?
Pump. It's a single pump one. Yeah, I thought I was like, dude, twin pump I think is too much for like these tires. I feel like a lot of people in Subarus go overkill.
Yeah.
I mean, I can fill up my I mean, it's faster for me to air up than it is to air down, even with just one.
What?
Hose. Oh yeah, dude, it's like 2 minutes and it airs these.
No kidding.
It airs these up from 15 or whatever, however low I go.
Yeah.
So it's really quick.
Use panel for that, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a sick setup.
Yeah, this comes with the switch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really nice, and it's got like a little.
Just an on-off thing, like an isolator.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really nice for winches, especially in case you accidentally push the winch button. You're driving down the highway and it rips your bumper off. You're like, oh shoot.
That sounds like that could be bad. Yeah, that could be bad.
Dude, that's what's up. Am I missing any mods?
I mean, I
feel like I've bugged the shit out of you.
No, you're good. I mean, you can see the scan gauge there, and you can see the Midland radios in there. And it's GMRS because it communicates with the radios and everything, but it's nice to have it hardwired in. I mean, sometimes having the walkie is still kind of nice because you get out of the car. So we just got it kind of... there just happens to be this like little hook thing back there. Yeah. It just literally sits like that.
Yeah, I forget I think those are actually for grocery bags.
Okay. Well, there you go. See, I hang my freaking Arab hose on it.
There we go.
This is custom. It's 12-volt light, and it's tied in with my hatch light.
Okay.
So I think it's probably off right now because my hatch is off, but
it might not. Oh, there you go, dude. That's what's up.
Yeah, it's super bright at night, and it's nice for camping. And I'll leave it on for like hours. When
no
I'm camping
battery drain, dude.
Yeah, because it's LED, so it barely pulls anything. That's what's nice about having the scan gauge too. Is when I'm camping, I can go up there and press the button on my scan gauge, and I can see my battery voltage. And it does keep up with it because it drops as I'm there.
Well, and you're running an upgraded battery too. Like that's something that I always tell people. Like you
AGM.
Are crazy if you're not running AGM,
especially if you're bouncing around in that lead batteries because they start leaking.
It starts to crack those lead plates inside the lead acid batteries, and then before long you're just full
of... Those are. Yeah, I've learned my lesson on those.
Those are not good for much of anything.
It's outdated, baby. Outdated technology.
Sir. Well, shit, thank you, man.
Of course.
Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, no problem.